a rut, so lost and just needing one big mental health reset, then this is the video and the episode for you, because I'm going to tell you exactly what you can do to get yourself out of that rut and feeling the best version of yourself again. Welcome to the Future Her podcast. I'm your host Rosie, and welcome back to another episode. So in this episode, I'm going to be going through a step-by-step guide of how to get yourselves out of a rut when you're in one, and how to get your day, your week, your month, your year, everything back on track. So usually at the start of every single episode, I will do a weekly update of how I've been feeling, and just to genuinely update you guys on everything. And the reason why I'm actually doing this episode today is because that is basically been my weekly or 2-weekly update, because I know I missed last week's episode and we're now uploading on Wednesdays. So obviously there's been a couple of week gap, but during those 2 weeks, I kid you not, I've been in the worst rut, mentally, physically, everything. Your girl's just been going through it the last 2 weeks, and I wanted to dedicate this whole episode and this whole video today on everything that I've done to help myself get out of this rut that I've been in, and to also guide you to get yourself out of a rut if you're feeling like you need one big mental health reset to get yourself back on track. Because it's normal, girlies, okay? That's the thing I want you to take from this episode as well, is getting in a rut, feeling like crap about yourself, and just struggling with that overall feeling of demotivation and not knowing how you feel is normal. I think being in a rut is something that's so normal, and it happens to everyone. People will have bad days, people will have bad weeks, bad months, bad years. It's only normal. And the thing that I've recently learned is that it's impossible to be the best version of yourself 24/7. It's only normal that you're going to have days where you don't feel great. It's only normal to have days where you're not as motivated as other days. And especially as women with our hormones, that's one of the biggest controls of our mood and the way that we feel. Some weeks during our menstrual cycle, we're going to feel really low and we're going to feel really unmotivated. And it's so normal to feel like that. But I feel like it's not spoken about enough how normal it is to feel like that. And obviously I know this YouTube channel, this podcast is all about teaching you guys how to be the best version of yourself. When I'm personally in a rut, my biggest feelings are feeling overwhelmed, demotivated, tired, lazy, confused, and this general feeling of just not being able to explain how I feel. I feel like it's so hard to tell someone why you're in a rut. Like, there might not even be a trigger for it. It could just be as simple as being a female and having your hormones be all over the place and be crazy. But for me, I get this general feeling of feeling overwhelmed and confused, and just completely sliding off all of my daily habits and not being on top of things. And even if someone was to ask me what was wrong, I feel like I couldn't really explain what was wrong or why I'm feeling like this. But it's normal, girls. Every single person has this. Everyone will have days where they're not their best self. Everyone will have months where they're not their best self. It's completely normal. But I'm here today to teach you everything you need to know to help yourself get out of that mindset, get out of that rut feeling, and to have a complete mental health reset to get yourself back on track, being the best version of you, doing your daily habits, and doing everything that makes you happy to be the best version of yourself. I think 2 really, really nice quotes that I saw the other day that really related to me when I was in this rut, this state of mind, was everything in nature, everything that's natural, is not expected to bloom all year round. And we as humans are part of nature. So how can you expect us as humans to bloom all year round as well? It's impossible. Flowers don't bloom all year round. They're not looking their best versions of themselves throughout the whole year. So us as humans, we're animals, we're part of nature. We also can't be expected to be that best version of ourselves 24/7 all year round as well. It's just kind of almost like seasons as well. Like, us as humans will have seasons, much like the weather. One thing that I always find myself doing when I am in these ruts is calling myself lazy. And I've learned as well recently that you don't need to call yourself lazy. You might just be exhausted and your body genuinely needs to rest. So when you are in a rut, You need to recognize that you're in this rut, and you need to learn that you may just need rest, and that might be a simple thing that you just need to get over that feeling and to reset yourself. You might not need to do every single step that I'm going to talk about in this video, in this podcast. You may simply just need rest. Like, your body might just be exhausted, and because when you're exhausted, you're more sensitive to all your emotions and things just feel more difficult in life. So maybe just simply having a rest day and switching off from things could be the answer to how you need to reset your mental health when you're in this rut stage. But in this episode, I am going to be talking about every single little thing that I do and I've learned to get myself out of that rut. So let's get straight into it. Okay, first things first. Just simply recognizing that you're in a rut is the best thing, and you might not even realize it. Realizing that you're in a rut and that you're in need of a mental health reset is the first and most important stage of being able to get yourself out of that rut. If you don't realize that you're in one and you just feel lazy and you're just not really too bothered about it, you're not going to push through it, and you're not going to then get back to your best self, back to your daily habits, back to the things that make you feel good. So first and foremost, realizing that you're in this rut and knowing that you need to get out of it and you need to actively do things to get yourself out of it is the best and the most important thing, because without that, you aren't going to be getting anywhere, girl, unfortunately. So once you've realized that you're in a rut, you need to give yourself a pat on the back for first even realizing this. Once you've fully realized the state of mind that you're in and the fact that you need to do certain things to get yourself out of that rut and you need to completely reset your mental health, the first thing that I will always do when I feel this way will be to start writing some lists. So I have a few different lists that I like to write, a few different things that I like to do to clear out my brain, to clarify my thoughts, to reorganize everything in my head. And I'm going to talk you through the different types of lists that I do and every single step that I do to help me. And I promise you, these will help you too if you apply them into your life when you feel like you're in a rut. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is take a step back and you're going to write yourself what I call a mental health list. So the mental health list that I do when I feel like I'm in a rut is basically a list that's split into two columns. The first side will be a column that is filled with all of the stresses, all of the things that I'm struggling with. So when I'm in a rut, I'm in the most unorganized, unproductive, confused state of mind. And I feel like I have all these stresses and all these pressures, loads of different things weighing me down, that I need to write out every single one of these stresses in a list. So I want you to get a piece of paper, I want you to split it in half and have two columns. On the left-hand side, I want you to write out all of these stresses that you have, every single one of them, every single issue, every single thing that's on your mind, things that are weighing you down, things that are bringing you down, everything. And then on the right hand side of this list, I want you to almost write yourself an answer as to what you will do to help resolve that issue and help it almost clear from your mind. This is a game-changing list because it will help you recognize the things that are causing you stress, the things that are weighing you down, the things that might be stopping you from being productive, and the things that are getting in your way in your everyday life to stop you from doing your daily habits. It will help you realize all of them. And then once you've realized what they are, you can then understand what you need to do to fix those little problems. It will give your brain so much clarity to understand and break down the different things that are causing you to feel weighed down and pressured. Sometimes you'll feel like you're in a rut because every day feels the same, or you're bored, or you don't have anything exciting to look forward to, or you're just not feeling great. And once you recognize these things and you're able to pinpoint where this rut is coming from, you're going to have way more of like a clear picture, and your brain's going to have so much more clarity to help you push through and figure out what you need in order to feel reset and feel better and get back on track again. Okay, and then moving on to the second list that you're going to make. Once you've taken a step back and you've made your first mental health list with all your stresses and your brain feels so much clearer, you've got more clarity in what's going wrong in your life, what's making you feel demotivated, what's dragging you down, you're then going to write a list of all of the different priorities and the things that you want and you need to do. This list is going to consist of things that are important to you. These tasks can be anything. They might be work tasks, like things that you actually physically have to do, things for school, exams, anything like that. They might also be tasks that are for your wellness, your physical health, your mental health. Create a whole list of the things that are going to make you feel good. And if you're not a list type of person where you want to write things down physically on paper, create it on your notes on your phone. Writing a list will create so much clarity for you. It will help you understand the root cause of why you're feeling all of these feelings, why you're in this demotivated rut, and it will then provide you with the answers that you need to get yourself out of that. And then having a detailed list of all the things that you need to do, it will automatically make your brain want to just start ticking them off, and then you'll gradually start to feel better the more you just plow through that list and get them all done. I personally love to write all my lists down, like on actual paper. I have my journal and I'll do this sort of thing in my journal. So last week I basically wrote these lists a few times to try and figure out and get to the root cause of why I was feeling unproductive, why I was feeling demotivated, and then all the different things that I wanted to do to make myself feel better. And it works. I can't tell you anything else that works more than creating a list and getting all your thoughts out on paper. It's one of the best forms of therapy in my opinion. Okay, moving on to my next huge point that I've discovered is a must do for me to get myself out of a rut is no social media. One of the biggest things that I do when I'm not feeling great, when I feel demotivated and I'm just not my best self, is I'll use my time scrolling on my phone as a way to distract myself from the real problems. And I think we're all guilty of it, of using our phone and social media and scrolling through all the different apps that we've got as a way to procrastinate. We all do it as a thing to do to distract ourselves from actually doing the things that we need to do. And it happens so naturally. It's normal to feel like that, and it's normal to do that sort of thing. But when you're in a rut and you need to reset yourself, that's probably the worst thing that you can do, because you're never going to get further if you just spend your time scrolling through meaningless things that are not going to help you. So when I say take some time off social media, whether it's just for a few hours or a day or a couple of days, do what obviously suits you best. But for me, I'll always have to take a few hours a day off of social media, and I'll always feel so much better. If I have access to my phone and social media when I'm not feeling great, I will just scroll and scroll and scroll for hours, and I'll end up seeing things that make me feel worse about myself. I'll end up comparing my life to other people. I'll get stuck in this trap, and all I want to do is scroll for the next video to give me a little mini dopamine rush to distract myself from why I'm feeling crap in the first place. And it's like almost like a dangerous hole of just falling down into this deep social media hole where you're just going to feel worse and worse and worse. And sometimes you can just be on your phone scrolling for like an hour and you don't even know that an hour's passed, and it's just the worst thing to do. It's the biggest waste of time. So try and get yourself off of social media for at least a few hours, or maybe even a whole day if you can, and it will make you feel so much more refreshed. You'll be living in the moment. You'll be able to focus on the things that you would have written down on your lists to make yourself feel way better about yourself and to get yourself back on track without the distractions. I'd say 90% of the things that you see on social media are actually not even beneficial to your life in any kind of way. So when I say taking time off social media, I fully mean this. I think this is the best thing to do. However, there is another side of things that I'm going to talk about and go into detail to, that is actually my next step and the things that I do to reset my mental health. And it kind of does contradict this point, because I have just said to completely stay off social media. However, I do have one slight exception when it does come to social media. And when I really thought about all the different things that I did this last week to help me get out of this rut, and obviously I'm talking through every single one of them now, one of the things that I did find that really did help me get out of the rut is to consume myself and to consume my brain with motivational content and motivational podcasts that make me feel good. So even though I say stay off social media, when I say stay off social media, I'm kind of meaning stay away from the pointless scrolling and looking at things that don't add any beneficial value to your life or the way that you're feeling. However, if you consume the right content and you're watching things or you're listening to things that are actually making you feel better, then that's a completely different story. Because I found myself listening to different podcasts and watching content that would actually make me feel better and actually make me want to get out of my rut. So watching or listening to productive things while you're in a rut is actually really, really helpful, and it's something that I found so helpful last week when I wasn't feeling my best version of myself, because it made me actually want to be better. It made me want to start doing my daily habits again. For me, there's just something pleasing and motivational about watching people do things in an aesthetic way. I love watching aesthetic morning routines, aesthetic wellness trends, someone working out, someone cooking some really healthy food, and the videos produced so nicely and it just looks so aesthetic. For me, that motivates me. And even though I think that comes down to the whole romanticizing your life type of thing, even though every single person has a morning routine, every single person will work out, everyone will cook food. If I watch someone do those day-to-day tasks that everyone will do, but they're doing it in a way where it looks nice and it's pleasing, that comes down to the whole romanticizing your life type trend. And seeing someone do something that is supposed to be boring or is like a mundane everyday task that you might not have the motivation to do when you're actually in a rut, like simple things like cooking food. Like when I'm in a rut, I actually can't be bothered to cook myself food, whereas usually I love it. But if I watch someone cook food on a video on TikTok or Instagram and it looks so nice and they're in a kitchen that's just really aesthetic, all the things that they're using to cook food with look so pleasing, and then obviously the end result looks so nice, it actually motivates me and makes me think, oh, that looks so nice, I'm gonna go and do that too. And the same applies for morning routines or working out or making a healthy smoothie or just all these different things. If the things that I'm struggling with in my day-to-day life because I'm in that rut are then presented to me in a really nice aesthetic way, it almost gets my energy to match that and it makes me want to do it myself. So watching these videos for me while I was in a rut was actually so beneficial because it made me want to do it as well. So yeah, if I see another aesthetically pleasing video or I see someone else romanticizing their life, it actually makes me want to match that energy and do the same in my life. So it will make me want to get out of my rut and completely reset and get back to my normal daily tasks. And that's basically the whole point of why I enjoy doing this podcast and creating these videos for you guys, because I want to be that person that you will listen to when perhaps you're in that rut, and hopefully I can be the content that will make you feel the way that I was basically just explaining. But yeah, watching motivational content, listening to people that are motivational and talking about things that are making me feel better, it raises my energy and it raises my vibration so much to match their energy and put me on that same wavelength to wanting to get back to it myself. Okay, moving on to my next point, and I swear every single person will tell you this, but exercise. Exercise will help you feel a million times better and get you out of that rut and put you back on track to feeling healthy, happy, and full of energy. If anyone tries to tell me, right, that there is a way to feel bad after having a workout, I'll simply not believe you, because it's impossible to feel bad and negative after working out. Even if you can't be bothered to go and work out and you're not in a good mindset because you're in this rut and you just don't know what you're doing, you feel demotivated, going outside, working out, doing any sort of physical exercise will guarantee the fact that you'll feel better afterwards. It's a known fact. Doing exercise, moving your body, releases certain chemicals and hormones in your body that will always make you feel good. It's impossible to feel negative after a workout, so that is something that I recommend doing to help you push yourself out of that rut, definitely. And when I say workout, it doesn't need to be a trip to the gym and doing an intense weightlifting workout or anything crazy. you could simply just go and move your body. You can go on a walk, you could go for a run, you could do yoga, you could do some stretching, even if it's down in your lounge or in your bedroom and you put a YouTube video on of some sort of yoga and you're just moving your body. It will make you feel so good and it will set you up to have a good day. And as well, if the weather's good, working out and doing activity and moving your body outside is just so much better than staying and doing it inside or in a gym. It just breathing in the fresh air, especially if it's a nice sunny day, is one of the best feelings. Like, I struggle to have motivation if it's really crap rainy weather, and I love working out when it's warm and sunny. It just makes me feel so much better and I get more of a sweat on. It just makes me feel there's something good about working out when the weather's good. It just hits different, you know? So if you can do it outside, do it outside because it will make you feel so much better, I can promise you. And then the last thing I want to touch on that has helped me so much this last couple of weeks get out of my rut and completely reset my mental health is talking to someone. I know it's a really, really basic point and it's quite self-explanatory, but sometimes even being in a rut, you feel confused, and just explaining to someone all of these different emotions that you might be feeling is a way to offload your emotions, and it will make you feel clearer and you'll have more clarity. And usually most of the time the people that you'll talk to will make you feel a million times better because they'll either give you advice or just having someone to listen to you can make you feel like you're just offloading that and you just feel free and you feel like it's been taken off your shoulders. And obviously speaking to someone that will give you advice is so helpful as well, because having like a different opinion on things will always help you put into perspective reasons why you shouldn't be feeling like a certain way, and it will just help you figure things out and have a bit more clarity in your brain. So those are all of the different things that I have done over the last couple of weeks to help me reset my mental health and to help me get back on track. I think just realizing that you're in a rut and realizing that you need a reset, first and the biggest step to have to reset yourself. Without realizing that, you're not going to get yourself out of it and you're just going to probably spiral into a worse trap of feeling like you're stuck in a rut. And then obviously as soon as you realize that you are stuck in a rut, you can then actively do the things that I've suggested in this podcast and in this video to help you get back out of it, back on track, feeling the best version of yourself and feeling motivated to do all of your daily habits that make you feel the best version of you. Thank you so much for watching and listening to this episode, and I really, really hope that I've been able to help you out and that I've been able to drag you out of your rut if you're listening and you are struggling right now. If you're listening to this episode on Spotify, I'd really appreciate if you could leave a 5-star review. It really helps get my podcast seen by people that would also want to be listening. And if you're watching this on YouTube, I'd also really appreciate if you could subscribe to my channel, hit the like button on this video and leave a comment and let me know what else you want to see from the Future Her podcast. But thank you all so much for listening, and make sure you remember that you're always doing it for the future her.